Hello and welcome to Trolls of the Two Tonne Bridges, or TOTTB. I'm Natalia and I will be your Welsh adjacent monk for the evening. Following on from last fortnight's episode, our motley crew, including an intoxicated Zibi and Rana and a Taban, are on their way to speak to Ekene. You can find us on all of our social medias, including Instagram, Facebook and Twitter under TOTTB Podcast. And don't forget that we are currently releasing our podcast every 2 weeks, so our next release will be on the 23rd of November. Adventure.
The Log of Percival Silverlight. Our search for the gladiator Taban and recovering his unpaid dues has found us with our quarry in the Giggling Squid, our tavern of choice. Rather than battling the tabaxi with steel, however, Rana and Zibi decided to take part in a drinking competition with him. This is all well and good, but we are due to meet with the merchant prince Ekene to discuss Taban's fate. We now must face the challenge of getting a blind drunk trio of Zibi, Rana and Taban to Golden Throne. Adventure?
So, what I would like is another Constitution saving throw from the three of you that are drunk out your faces to see if you guys actually sober up on your way over to Golden Throne.
This is highly unlikely.
Probably.
What, in half hour?
In a
sober
half
up
hour.
from that amount of drink?
Let's make it a disadvantage, so it's unlikely.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
But Zibi and Toby have had coffee as well. Would that not help them? And
Nope.
bread.
Nope, I'm going to say no. Because I still want to see...
Con saving throw, was it? Sorry.
Con saving throw, yes.
I rolled a 19 plus 2 for the first one, and a 14 plus 2 for the second one.
Is that for me as well?
So, 16. That is for you as well, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I rolled 24 in total for my first one, and for my second I rolled a 13.
11.
13. So 13, 11, and 16 for Zibi? Okay, so Rana and Taban, you guys are still quite heavily inebriated by the time you get to Golden Throne, but Zibi,
Yeah.
you actually have started to sober up by the time you get there.
That's because he didn't finish his last drink.
He didn't quite get all of the poison.
You're only jealous.
You sober up enough, not so much that you're not slurring your words, but enough that you're not so much, nearly blanking out, say as much as Rana is.
Everybody knows the poison sinks to the bottom. Remember this.
That's why it has a swizzle stick.
Little umbrella.
It's going to sink to your bottom later on. I'm not going to go in the toilet after you.
You make your way to Golden Throne, and unlike the last two times, this time as you approach the entrance doorways, those two gladiators you'd seen flanking the door this time sort of step forward and do ask you. They have their shields and spears, not exactly ready, but they clasp them a little bit tighter, and they look to you and just say, "All right, what's this? State your business."
Hello, I'm sorry these lot have had a bit of fun this afternoon, but we do have an appointment with Ekene. She is expecting us, and she is expecting this gentleman as well. I will keep all of them in check. Don't worry.
Percival Silverlight and Co.
Siliqui is my name, not Co.
Okay.
After a little bit of just sort of
Hello, Taban.
looking over you guys and just sort of trying to ascertain what the situation is like here, they realize that you two are just drunk, and they look to you, Siliqui, and they say, as long as you keep a good hand on them, keep the peace, all right?
Absolutely.
And they take
With
a step
consent.
back. They take a step back and make a little bow as you head on in to Golden Throne.
Thank you.
The receptionists are still free if you want to go over and talk to them, or you can sort of take a seat and wait. It's up to you guys.
I'm just going to wave at them.
Hey, Rana, turn into a spider. Rana, turn into a spider.
I just wave to the receptionist, but decide that it's safer for me to stay with the drunk people to try and help make sure they don't do anything crazy.
Well, once again, Rana stares off into the distance. He looks sort of mildly constipated for a second, and just for the briefest of seconds, it just looks as though, just weirdly, his eyes shift, and then suddenly there's more of them, and then it's gone, and he shakes his head and he says, "No, I need to sleep."
It would have been funny.
Halfway between human and spider would have been a terrifying thing to see, but hey,
Yes.
A spider and a man together? That just seems so weird.
that
What would we
does.
even call him?
well, I have no idea. What would we call him? Man spider?
A dryder.
Some kind of marvel.
Tobias shared a weird image before, I think, on Facebook or something, of a man spider thing that was
please do
terrifying.
not share it again. I don't need that nightmare.
I need it immediately.
I do, however, need pictures of parrots.
Is it bad that I've
That's
already
amazing.
done it? Sorry, it's there.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, God.
I don't like
You
the
can't
look,
unsee it, though.
the shape, or what it stands for.
So Percival kind of corrals the crew into an area where there's some seats and gets them all sat down. He's like, "Okay, keep your hands to yourself and no vomiting on the floor. Thank you very much." And he turns around and goes over to the desk.
The receptionist that you wave to, Soliloquy, notices you and sort of like has a little acknowledgement and sends an attendant off down one of the corridors to the left and right of the receptionist desk. After a little while, about 10 minutes or so, they come back and they once again they announce to the room, but they are looking towards you. They say Mr. Silverlight is here. Prince Ekene is willing to see you now.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, which way is it?
Follow me, sir.
Thank you.
She starts to show you guys down through one of the corridors, and you see a number of doors leading off of this corridor that are clearly different merchant princes. Each of them has a little sort of plaque on it saying which of the merchant princes each office belongs to. And eventually, she leads you to the office of Ekene and sort of gestures to the door. She knocks politely, and then after a called "come in," she gestures for you guys to head in.
So
Because we'll corral them and, yeah. Sure, we want everyone in.
As you open the door and you all corral in, the room is probably a little bit bigger than maybe you were expecting for an office. It's actually quite a sort of almost opulent room. It has a desk, and you can see Ekene is stood there behind it, but it's got quite a few seats. Actually arrayed in front of it where you could potentially sit. Not all straight back chairs. There is, in fact, in one corner, there is also a chaise lounge. And the walls of the room are set up with a couple of bone and leather sort of shields with crossed yikuwas underneath. Intimating at Ekene's past as a gladiator, they were her favourite weapons. But Ekene is not alone. A young man is stood at her side who you would all, apart from you, Taban, would recognise... Well, actually, no, Taban, you would recognise him as well. You'd recognise him as the son of Ekene, Tiriki, the dino rider, is stood there. They both sort of look expectantly at you all. Though Ekene does seem to be looking a little more expectantly towards the currently drunk Tabaxi. I don't know. Do you shuffle into the room, Sean, or what do you reckon? How do you sort of present yourself as you go into the room?
So I would be walking with sort of almost a slightly bent back. For anybody out in the world who has ever had a little bit of paunch on them, you know, that sort of laid back.
Yeah,
Bit like a full pregnant lady where they've got the kind of,
but yeah, not to the ultimate extent of that, but you know, you've got a bit of weight on. You need
Bit
to
of a waddle.
take it on your spine a little bit. He's got that sort of entrance as he walks in, and he's looking around, actually genuinely interested. And when he sees the claws on the wall as well, he sort of points and sort of looks down at his own in his hand, and then carries on.
Okey-dokey. Ekene sort of greets you and says, "Good afternoon to you all. I see you have been successful in the mission I asked you to do. You brought me to Taban. That's very good."
Yes, we have brought you Taban, but we did want to speak to you actually about what you intend to do with him. Or
I am Taban.
You are Taban, that's right.
Ekene turns to Taban as you say that. And it's just sort of like a little bit surprised and takes a little look, and you see she sort of leans forward slightly. I see. Did you mean to get him drunk off his ass before you brought him to me?
Well, we did come to see you straight away, but you were too busy. And then we had to do something to kill the next 3 hours, where there wasn't going to be a problem with everybody.
She raises her eyebrows at your use of the words "too busy."
Sorry, I don't mean to insult you. It meant more, you had things to do, and we
You were otherwise
we
occupied,
had to somehow,
my dear Ekene.
yes,
Obviously, we
and we had to keep him busy, and that seemed the easiest way to keep everybody entertained.
I see.
we are not in control of the man, but obviously we are here with him, as we have promised.
What has happened to Kalahu?
Unfortunately, she fell.
She fell. You mean
She does this a lot.
She means she's dead.
No, she fell over. She's back in hospital again. Fine, I'm sure she'll be fixed up right as rain.
I see.
Yeah, she should be fixed quite soon. She did hurt her leg again.
She's very much drama queen, Kalahu. Gets knocked down, doesn't get back up on her own.
I do. I get knocked down, I get
See.
back up again. I have a vodka drink. I have a whiskey drink.
Yeah. Because no one's ever going to keep you down.
No.
I see. Well, did you at least get paid by Kalahu for your troubles?
Yes, we did, I believe.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Because wasn't it to do with the
All
jet?
right, she's a good lass that way.
Oh, that is at least good. And so Taban, and this time she turns and directs her attention to you, Taban. She says, "I hope you have learnt your lesson."
His lesson that every time Taban bets, he gets to beat up people too, because this is lesson Taban has learnt.
No, Taban. You didn't pay for your bet. A bet you made against
paid.
my son.
I paid for bet.
You have now. But you did not
Yes.
pay when you first were told of your loss.
I said you had to wait. I'm always good for it. Taban is man of word.
And yet why weren't you this time?
I pay. Do you not have money?
It's not a question of money, it is a question of honor, Taban. Something that, from what I've heard of you, you are supposed to have.
I had outstanding bets. I had to pay. I had to weigh up a reasonable risk. And this for me was best way. I apologize to the prince. Taban does not mean to shed honor in any way. Taban means to pay every time, but in this case, Taban has to survive too.
Ekene doesn't change her face. Her facial features stay quite the same, quite sort of rigid and solid. She places her hand on the desk and stands up and comes round the desk towards you, Taban. And she holds her hand indicating towards your yikuwa.
Sort of looks down at it for a moment and then almost resigned to giving it over, sort of places it in her hand. I'm confused, by the way. Is it a girl or a guy? And are they just everybody called princes?
Everybody is called Prince, and she is a woman. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I
Yeah.
found that really, really difficult to understand without context.
That is sorry. Yep.
We had to
that's fine.
we had to
That's
work
fine.
that out before, yeah.
Bear in mind, guys, I don't listen to this podcast. I don't know what's going on.
At least she's honest
Make it up
about
as I go along. Okay.
Yep. That's all right. You're
like
doing
it is.
fabulously so far.
Yeah, I sort of hand it over and say, I had to risk your wrath before I risk it from the Centurim.
She takes the yikuwa. She looks at it for a second, turns it in her hand, swings it slightly, and as she's swinging it, even in your drunk state, Taban, you you can tell that this type of weapon is something she has always used. You know, even though this weapon is yours, not hers, in her hands you can see it's familiar. It's like it's an extension of her arm, even though she's just testing it. And she brings it back and she looks at it and just says, "It's like, this is a fine weapon. And Taban, I have seen you use it very well many times in the Colosseum, almost as well as I have." She turns it, hands you back the blunt side, not the blade, and says, "Apology accepted. The Zentarim are dangerous in their own right. And I've long wondered whether we should really have allied ourselves with such people. But that is not for me to decide right now. And here, right now, you have apologized. And in my eyes, you have regained your honor. And I must say, I enjoy watching you in the Colosseum, Taban.
Taban champion.
It's good to see someone. It is good to see someone with so much skill entertaining the people of Port Nyanzaro. Thank you all." And this time she sort of looks up and addresses the rest of you and says, "Thank you for helping resolve this, however small, slight on my son's honor and mine. And you did so most professionally. Well," and she looks at you, Taban, and she looks at Rana, who I'm not sure what Rana is doing off in the corner. Rana, what are you doing off in the corner?
It's probably on a chair somewhere.
I think Rana's mostly been sort of half listening to the conversation and half staring sort of blurrily into space, looking vaguely irritated and forlorn.
And remind me, Rana, has Ekene met you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has? Yeah. Because I remember you were Steve the first time.
When we went to the Colosseum, he was a monkey.
I was Steve the first time.
Yeah, but then the second time we thought it was safe.
So I was at the ground when we saw Big Honker. Because I was impressed by Big Honker because he was big.
Are you okay over there, Sean?
It's a game to make you say innuendo.
Yeah,
like Golden Throne and Big Honker. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
We're not ready to say shitter and big penis. We're not happy to say that. We have to go with the euphemism.
Plot twist: Big Honker is a 35-foot tall goose, Canada goose.
With a saddle.
I've never heard of something so terrifying in my life.
Anyway,
it happens to have breasts. Yeah.
Anyway, what?
Yeah.
It's just been plugged to make him look like a.
So she looks at you two and says, "Well, mostly professional." And she goes back and sits behind her desk and says, "Very well. You have proven to me as a group that you are trustworthy. I have asked you to bring Taban before me, and you have done so without knowing what exactly I wanted from him. This is good. This is positive. Improves our relationship. I understand now, and I believe that you are being honest in the plight of the Order of the Gauntlet. They are truly so desperate, and they need our help so much."
Yes.
I see.
Absolutely, they are in dire need of help. They're really struggling.
Pretty much. They're on a road to nowhere. It's so thirsty.
No.
Yeah, Sean. This is what it's like.
Anyway, is what you're saying and says then, so I understand. We are going to be having a meeting soon, us merchant princes, to decide what, if anything, we will do to help the Order of the Gauntlet. It's my understanding that a supply of weapons, of ammunition for their archers, and better equipment for their soldiers would be of use to them. You think?
It certainly would, yes.
Aye, definitely.
Well, that is all well and good. Then I shall consider with greater attention your idea of helping the Order. Before I dismiss you now, there is another matter I wish to discuss with you. All of you, Taban included, if you are of a willing mind to prove yourself again, Taban.
I am definitely of some kind of mind.
I assume all of you sort of nod your assent at her asking if you would help?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
She turns to her son, Tiriki, and says, "Go on." Tiriki looks to you and just says, "It's come to my attention recently that there is a rumour of possible foul play.
The worst kind of play.
Indeed, sir. There is, in the next coming days, a dinosaur race, as I'm sure you are aware. At this dino race, I myself will be competing in the Unchained event, the big event of the day. And an anonymous tipper has reached me to say that my biggest rival in the championship, Eliza, bear with me while I just get the notes up.
Doolittle.
Not Doolittle, no.
Do a lot. Yeah.
Eliza Hamilton.
Weird crossover.
Eliza Mustel, who's my rival in these races, will be cheating in order to win the Unchained event. Now, normally, an accusation of cheating wouldn't go amiss. People are constantly trying to undermine one another with whispers and rumours, of course. But recently, in fact yesterday, Eliza's backer, Ifan Talroa, one of the other merchant princes,
Ifan.
has placed an enormous bet on her winning the weekend's race. This is quite unusual for a couple of reasons. The first being the size of the bet. Ifan is known for thinking that betting is a fool's pastime, and therefore if he ever does bet, he is quite reserved and quite small in the way he bets. He never bets big, so this is a first for him. It adds perhaps a little credence to the idea that perhaps Eliza is going to be trying to bet, and perhaps Ifan has something to do with it. Now, my mother here and myself can't openly investigate without being called cowards or being accused of some form of treachery. However, the five of you could make inquiries at your leisure, discreetly of course, and could perhaps find the truth of the matter, perhaps resolve it. I am all for Eliza beating me fairly. I have no problem with that, though of course she won't in any fair game. But I will not have my honour slighted by a cheater. What say you? Will you help us?
Well, my dear Tyrek, I think you know us as being the most subtle of investigators. We have already managed to do some good for you and your family. I think that we are all in agreement that we would be happy to do some more.
I am Taban.
I think that's a yes.
Okay.
Zippy turns around and looks at Soliloquy and sort of waggles his eyebrows in a way that means, do we ask what's in it for us?
One question. How much does Taban get paid for thing?
Attempt this task, this potentially dangerous task, if possible, without some form of compensation. We would be willing to give you 600 gold pieces for the job.
Each.
Not each. Together.
600 gold pieces. What do you think, is worth it or not?
It's better than a kick in the pants.
I've heard this.
The thing is we are trying to find the cause of the death curse and put a stop to it. Now,
Yes.
any help we can get with transportation. I know you deal in canoes, but if you know anyone who you may be able to help us with getting a ship, for example, whether it's you helping us directly or you speaking to somebody else, if you're able to put your influence on them to get them to give us a better deal or something.
Maybe you could strap 5 of your canoes together to make bigger boat for us to go on.
I actually thought about that at one point, but they laughed at me.
It's a genius idea.
I think you two should team up.
So Ekene has said that
She offered me like 2 canoes and said I can buy a third canoe if I wanted a third one, which I didn't want at the time, for 10% off or something. So I gained nothing, really. I'd have to spend more to get a discount.
yeah, because she's a merchant prince, she makes her money selling things, funnily enough. So Ekene as you have done a good deed for her and are considering doing another good deed for her, if you are successful in outing any cheating that is happening in the dino races, she would be willing to offer you a discount on canoes, and in fact across all her wares, in fact, which includes weapons and armor that she has available. Mm-hmm. She would be willing to offer you a discount of 20% on her wares to buy after you had helped out with this particular favor.
This next thing, yeah.
Yeah, this next thing, because essentially you've gained her trust. Now you gain her approval. You know, this is something that she wants done. It's a little bit more risky, and yeah, she will be willing to trade with you at a discount. As for in terms of a ship, the only thing that she can really tell you is she can repeat what you already know, is that there is a ship in the harbour called the Brazen Pegasus, which is available for hire. It, however, is an individual ship with its own captain and is not beholden to the merchant princes.
Is that the one that's captained by Captain Dark and Thingy?
Captain Swift and Dark.
That's the one.
Swift and Dark.
Yes.
Worst name ever.
I'm pretty sure I've drank a rum called that before.
Yeah.
Captain, the Pegasus, wasn't it, with Captain Swift and Dark?
The Brazen Pegasus, yes.
Are these straight out of the Tomb of Annihilation book, by the way?
Most of them are, yes.
Man, could they not do anything more corny? Or was that the limit that they were happy to go to?
I don't know. These are most of the names that you ask me out of random. I do just pull out of my arse. But most of the
that's why we get Barry every now and again.
No, Barry, I'm down with. Barry's great. Don't give me no enchanted dragons.
I quite like the random that Greg comes up with compared to that.
Okay, the enchanted dragon was another one that I pulled out of my arse. That wasn't.
Was it enchanted dinosaur?
Enchanted dinosaur.
Oh, so that's your fault.
That was my fault.
Oh,
yeah,
I
pulled that out of my arse as just a random generic tavern name.
But then you've got the giggling squid. You've got the painted rose.
Yep, painted rose was another one I pulled out of my arse.
There isn't a whorehouse.
Is the giggling squid from Monkey Island?
No, it's from Tunbridge
Not that I'm
Wells.
aware of.
Just me.
Not that I'm aware
and
of.
it's a Thai takeaway.
What was the part? Oh yeah, there is a giggling squid. Yeah, you're right. That's what it is. It's Tunbridge Wells fucking takeaway, giggling squid.
I thought it was a brilliant name for a seaside.
There's one in Sevenoaks as well. So
is it Thai food, giggling squid? What is it?
Yeah, it's really nice Thai food.
Yeah.
It's a chain. It's a chain of restaurants.
While you're poking holes in my improvisation.
Hey, no, you are an awesome DM, Greg. We love you. You are doing a fantastic job. Keep doing your thing.
Anyway, in regards to that, yes, Ekene says in terms of her putting pressure on somebody to give you transport, she says she can see what she can do, but she does reiterate that the Brazen Pegasus is not a Portly and Zara ship in the sense it's not owned by a merchant prince, so it's not like a particular merchant prince can help you with getting on board. You have to go directly to the captain and deal with them. Are there any other questions from the rest of you regarding the side quest that they've just offered you?
Yes, I'd actually like to ask, do you have any particular starting points for this at all? Is anybody we should be talking with? Any haunts that we should be frequenting just to see what the skin is on this Eliza Mustle? Would you like a spelling?
Must we?
I mean,
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
No, I want one now. Yes, please.
So it is Eliza.
Well, I mean, everyone knew Eliza. that was not the issue.
Mustal.
TAL.
T-A-L, okay.
One of the great things about making a character who's fundamentally a bit stupid, really,
is you can ask the stupid questions.
You don't have to take notes. You don't have to take notes.
Oh well, yes. Yeah.
You just remember what you remember.
Who started playing a character called Blix?
I remember you made way more notes than anybody I've ever met.
Yeah. But there's a feat called it's Keen Mind, isn't it?
Keen Mind, you remember everything. Yeah, but that's, do you know what? I want to call this out. I want to call this out as somebody who has DM'd before. Keen Mind is a bullshit feat. because it
It
puts
is a
all
bit.
of the work back on the DM, and I don't like it at all. It's bullshit.
But it is useful for you to know where north is if you've got a navigator with you who was taken on with you and gets you
but
lost.
when somebody goes, I've got keen mind. What did that guy say 3 weeks ago to me in that bar?
I don't know.
What did I hear? What did I hear?
I made it up.
What did I hear? Two people whispering about that you didn't even tell me about in the bar 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You bastard! It's even worse than lucky.
That's it. I would ban if anybody tries to take keen mind in my campaign. I'm going to say no.
Just out of curiosity, I'd like to have Keen Mind as one of my new characters.
Yeah. Don't worry, your next character will be dead soon too. You can choose a whole new one before then.
So you've just been given the side quest by Ekene's son. I think you've all pretty much agreed that you will do it. I think. Is there any other questions you want to ask of them just now?
I would say Taban seemed a little bit too inebriated to know what the fuck was going on. Seemed to be just going with the crowd.
Fair enough. Oh, that was it. You asked me. You asked me where you would sort of start with your investigations.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, anywhere in particular?
Kirik says, well, first place naturally that I would start is perhaps having a look in the dino dens to check out whether or not
I've just been there.
Yes.
Let's turn back time.
Could be a good place to start is to perhaps speak to the handlers of Eliza's mount. They would perhaps know if anything had been...
A stable boy.
Perhaps.
If anything had been.
They are with their dinosaurs almost day and night in most cases. And they would know if anything had been changed.
What's the name of her dinosaur?
The name of her dinosaur, that was the bit that I just decided I wasn't going to bother trying to look up, but thank you for asking.
I think it is called Dino. Dino, right? That's the name, Dino.
They're pretty much all Dino, aren't they?
Dino, Dino 2, Dino 3.
I know
Dino
they're
4.
all called Dino, but
Dino
was
Father
they
Dino.
Dino Ferrari, Dino De Laurentiis,
Rana says I had a pet called Barney.
You had a pet called Barney?
Wasn't he purple?
Yeah,
He sounds very friendly.
he was. And
Her ride is known as Bone Cruncher.
Oh, shit.
Ah, sweet.
That's a sick name.
it's a bit more sick than Big Tonka.
Better than Enchanted Dinosaur, for one thing. Are you glad you invited me along to take part now, Greg? Is that what you're saying?
So glad you're taking part in this, Sean. Yeah.
What are some of the other dinosaurs, the other steeds called? Massive Norks.
Norks.
And huge Gam.
This one's called, I think it's Dead Heat in a Zeppelin Race. That's what this one's called. It's so fucking stupid.
Christ.
This is so stupid.
You should see the rest of the names, to be honest.
Yeah.
That one's just called Bristols.
That one's just called Tits.
Classic.
That one over there. You see the you see the wee one, the one that looks a bit thoughtful. That one's called Fangs for the Memories.
Christ alive. Why do I play with you guys again?
We love you, Greg. That's why.
Know.
Because we love you, man. Because you're a beautiful
it's
man who
weird.
appreciates beautiful personalities.
It is.
You're the
It's
master
weird,
of stories.
It's the weird, silly things that you guys do.
What?
Okay.
Don't know what you mean. We're really normal. Just to be clear.
Oh yeah.
What are the age groups here? Because I get a distinct, understanding in certain age groups across some of the references that are thrown out. So Nick, you're relatively near my age, right?
I think we're a bit older than you, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, but I had a paper round in Baghdad, so I always
I
look
think I'm
older
legitimately
than I
I'm the
actually was.
youngest one here.
How old are you, Craig?
I am 26.
Do you remember your 20s, boys?
Yeah.
Remember them? They were good, weren't they?
just about.
I didn't waste them online playing a stupid game.
I was drunk for most of the 90s, so not really.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I spent a fair chunk of my 20s getting punched in the face repeatedly, so I don't remember much of it.
Mine's going significantly better.
Oh, really? Were you a boxer or just incredibly friendly?
Unlucky.
I spent 6 years doing kung fu, and we did a lot of full contact sparring, and I spent a lot of it I spent a lot of time getting punched in the face and forgetting things.
He wasn't lying. He did genuinely get punched in the face a lot.
No, I believe you. What style of kung fu are you generally
Wing Chun.
predisposed to?
Predisposed,
Wing Chun.
yeah. You were right.
Wing
with that.
Chun. That's not the Bruce Lee one, is it?
It is. Well, it's what Bruce Lee did before.
It's what he was taught, but not the one he invented, right?
He invented Jeet Kune Do, which is
so you're Ip
Wing
Man.
Chun with boxing and fencing footwork, basically.
So you're Ip Man then.
Not anymore. I've forgotten most of it, but I remember a few tricks.
I'm going to think of you as Ip Man from now on.
I actually quite like Ip Man. It's quite good. Quite good.
Have you seen all of them? Like, isn't there a new one?
Yes.
Isn't there a brand new one that came out this year?
There was Ip Man 4.
Yeah.
There was Ip Man 4, which I think was which I watched
Sorry, Greg.
a couple of months ago.
This is important.
The other one I really liked was the kickboxing one in I can't remember.
Okay.
All right, should we continue with the story?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, all right.
Can I just say the film I was trying to think of was a film called On Back.
Oh, On Back.
On Back.
Yeah, but that's not... Oh, okay. Let's not get into it. Let's go. Greg, go.
It was Thai boxing, not kung fu, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Cherokee outlines that, yes, Bone Cruncher's handlers are probably a good place to start. Failing that, you could also maybe try and track down Eliza herself. She can be found in the western portion of the city, probably around... She doesn't... he's not sure exactly where she lives, but she would have a house somewhere in the city, and if you went around, you'd probably be able to find her somewhere. Maybe if she's not training with her dino, she will probably be somewhere in a pub.
Do you know what she looks like?
He does know what she looks like. I, however, have no idea what she looks like because I haven't made her up yet. So he can give you a description of what she looks like.
So what do we need to do if we find her in that way? Are we just talking to her? Are we...
Something we need to discuss.
Well, what you have to... So what Turkus asks you to do is to be discreet about it. What he wants you to do is to work out if there is cheating, but to do it in such a way that it doesn't seem like you have been asked by Ekene and Turek to do it, because they don't want to...
We kill her and we hide the body.
I think that's one way to do it. He also says that as Ifan is the one that is backing Eliza and is the one that's made the oddly shady move of putting such a large bet on her, that perhaps even asking Ifan, maybe trying to learn something from Ifan, or maybe one of his attendants might potentially produce something. But he does warn you that Ifan is notoriously paranoid, and so will likely sniff out an attempt to wheedle information out of him. But those are the sort of options that Tyrek offers as ways to start an investigation. The dino race, he tells you, will be in 2 days' time. So if you want to, you are of course welcome to either watch, or if you really would like to and happen to have your own dinosaur, you may participate, of course. But he says that at that point, if you can let him know if you have found anything or not, he would greatly appreciate it.
Can I ask, what size of dinosaur are they in the different races that's going on? I don't know if you've heard of challenge rating, but imagine if they were under challenge rating. What kind of size of dinosaurs?
She wants to know how ferocious they are.
Yes.
Are they very ferocious? Do they live on a mountain?
So, the dino races, there are 3 races in a day. The first 2 are... what's known as the chained races. One is for 2-legged beasts, so that is things like
raptors.
They are generally
like small raptors?
They are like small raptors. So they are hadrosauruses, and
Deinonychus.
Are you sure? Dinochisis? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce these goddamn words. Deinonychus.
He definitely was. He did not commit to that at all. He was like, Dino. Yeah, cool.
Toby, do you know what they're called at all?
Yeah, come on, Toby, you're up next. What are they called?
Deinonychus.
What he said.
You down with that, Greg?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Was that one of the dinosaurs that you were before?
Yes,
The Deinonychus.
it's basically
a
big
large
velociraptor.
yeah.
Yeah, the one that kicked the shit out of the zombies.
Then the four-legged race is usually dominated by ankylosauruses and triceratopses. But you also get dimetrodons. Dimetrodons, that's it.
Am I supposed to know all of these, by the way? Because I've never heard
I know what they are
these
from
dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Me neither. I get it once I see a picture of them.
Ankylosauruses are the ones that have got like a bowl-type hard head.
Yeah. I remember that one that goes like this.
Yeah, that's like from the early Jurassic
Remember that
Park.
one?
They're really small though. Ankylosaurs have a big club
Ankylosaurus, are
tail
they the ones-
thing.
Are they the
Dimetrodons
ones parabolics
yeah,
at the end of their
yeah.
tail?
I know the one.
Where they
have the
swing
big
it.
sail on their back.
Oh, yeah.
Like
almost like a stegosaurus.
Triceratops are like unicorns, but with
They're
three horns.
three-horned. Yeah.
But angry.
Well, I know what a
they've got
triceratops
a big
is. I'm
back,
not a 2-year-old. Like, I know the basics. I know the triceratops. I know, Velociraptor, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and, Diplodocus. I don't care how you say it. Diplodocus. Not Diplodocus.
I know somebody who isn't quite 2 yet, and I had to explain things, so it's fine.
And then the last race is the Unchained race, which is what Tyrek takes part in. And that is a no-holds-barred race where the dinosaurs are literally, they're unmuzzled and anything can take part in that particular race.
Hey, Toby, any chance you could get a louder keyboard at all? Toby, any chance you could get a louder keyboard? Just a little bit louder.
Have you not seen my keyboard?
If you can't turn it up, is it a typewriter? Are you just writing on a typewriter?
I will show you exactly what it is. Are you ready for this?
That is. Are you trying to be ironic, or did you genuinely run out? You're not being that guy, are you, Toby? Don't be that guy.
This keyboard it was a design from the early 1980s, specifically designed for touch typists who have to type for a huge amount to be comfortable and accurate. And it's so successful. It's the most ergonomically perfect keyboard ever made. So much so, but the exact design, bar them adding a USB cable instead of the old SCART or whatever it was before, it's exactly the same as it was in the early 1980s. And I got it like 15 years ago when I was at uni.
But nothing will ever beat the TF5, man. Nothing will ever beat the TF5. And if you go back to the TF5 and look at the way that was manufactured from... TF5 was
of the things I
unbelievable.
expected to be discussed this evening, this was not one of them.
No such thing as a TF5. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Again, this just speaks to my ability to talk shit for a long time.
This keyboard, astonishingly, was about £70 with £40 to have it imported from the US, but that was nearly 15 years ago, and it still works perfectly.
I was going to say it cost £70 about 15 to 20 years ago when it was first made as well.
Yeah. 100%. Super loud. It's obnoxiously loud, but it's
Wait,
a wonderful
are we
keyboard.
playing a game or something?
Yeah, we were.
What are we doing? All right.
We were. Yeah. Well, you guys got in with your.
Hey, when are we going to fight something?
No. You got to wait a long time before we'll get to another fight again. Right.
Yeah. Is Rana still quite drunk?
Yes. Rana, this has taken place. All of this has taken place over the course of 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been the longest 5 minutes of my life, I've got to be honest.
Okay, so the only person that's sober is Percival with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Siliqui is going to slightly sort of elbow, tap Percival and say, Percival, I do have an idea. If I talk to you after we finish this, when we go off, I do have an idea.
Don't worry. I'll talk after this meeting.
Speaking of though, if you guys haven't got any other questions though, that is kind of the meeting over.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's it.
Unless there's anything else any of you do actually want to ask them.
Actually, I have got a question.
Yep.
To help you, if we needed to sort of sidle ourselves into the races in any way, do they do any kind of checks on the dinosaurs?
Yes, they do. They do.
What kind of checks do they do?
They use detect magic and detect thoughts to try and detect whether or not any dinosaur has in some way been magically assisted, or the riders have been assisted in their handling. or to determine whether or not any dinosaurs are not in fact dinosaurs.
So, talking to Mr. DM, are there any dinosaurs within those that they would go, oh, well, this is actually a smart dinosaur. They may have thoughts.
Probably not. Dinosaurs are pretty dumb.
Detect thoughts is used to work out if somebody is wild-shaped. Because I know that's what you're asking.
Yeah. I wonder if Rana can just completely empty his mind.
It's not impossible to fool, but it is a check that they would do specifically for that reason.
What we do is we get Rana really, really drunk. Then he changes into a dinosaur.
Are you saying this in front of Ekene? who's just talked about how they don't like cheating?
No, but Ekene, right?
Yeah, but we're not cheating to win. We're cheating to help her.
Yeah.
Ekene. No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it in front of Ekene. So.
I figured you weren't, but yeah.
To help, I mean, we wouldn't be doing it to try and win or to get any money. We wouldn't win or anything like that. But if we needed to infiltrate in some way to try and find out, like, if there is actually any other cheating going on, especially with this Eliza and Ifan, I think one of the best ways would be for us to infiltrate the races in some way. I do have an idea of how to do that, but is there any way of us being able to beat the system as such, as in if the dinosaur wasn't actually a dinosaur, but we're only there purely to help to get information for you?
Undercover, if you will.
Is there any way you could help us? Yes. Is there any way you could help us forego...
A bit like a dinosaur spy.
Or cheat the detect thoughts side of things?
This seems very, very strange conversation to Taban.
Welcome to the team, Taban.
I feel like we should be looking for a person who cheats.
Yes.
Okay, so
plan finished.
Ekene can tell you that. Let's see. Let me just get this straight again. So
I'm just so exhausted, aren't you, Greg?
In a very random. This is every time I sit down to play with these guys.
I have been waiting to ride a dinosaur for so many months.
The number of mental gymnastics I have to do I don't bother planning for these sessions anymore. There's no point.
Philippi, been wanting to ride Rana as an animal. Come on, it's been like months.
Hey, I've heard she's wanted to ride Rana as something else as well. But let's not make any assumptions.
She sees Rana like a younger brother. It's all a bit weird. Yeah.
Greg, do you remember when there was a plot?
There was a plot somewhere. Isn't there a death curse you guys are meant to be stopping?
Sure.
Okay, sorry. So, let me get straight. So, you want to ask Ekene if you can cheat to help them out?
Yeah, but not for any financial or gain or anything like that. Purely just to infiltrate. It's an undercover mission. Infiltration for her. Yeah.
Technically, there is financial gain because we're getting 600 gold pieces to do it.
No, that's a different thing. We could get 600 gold pieces whether we're in the race or not. That's separate to actually winnings from a race.
Ekene can tell you that a discovered cheater, for one thing, gets disqualified from the races and is often held in debt to those people in Port Nyanzaro who have lost bets as a result to their being disqualified, as it is considered to be on their shoulders why said bets have been lost.
What if they were kind of like the joke, as in nobody really bet on them because they are so shit that I don't really know why. Oh.
They wouldn't be running.
With Port Nyanzaro, with the significance of the races, what Ekene basically says to you is that it is more than likely, regardless how silly, somebody will have made a bet on them. Yeah. Basically, the long and short of it is, if you cheat and get caught, there will be consequences, even if you're doing it purely to get it. If you want to cheat, I as a DM am not going to stop you. However, you have to bear in mind that there may be consequences if you are caught.
We might die and get beaten shitless.
Maybe we should go and see some of my friends in the bookies, people who take bets on such races. From there, we can determine if there's been any spurious bets.
That sounds like
outside of the norm.
Sounds like an excellent idea, Taban.
I know, I'm really starting to sober up right now.
In that case, I have another idea too.
I will just sort of interject here in that while it is a good idea to go and see where those spurious bets are coming from, they do also know of a spurious bet that's already been made. the backer has made an enormous bet, which has caused them to be suspicious of what's going on in the first place. Just interject that in there. So
I wouldn't know that.
Taban,
though.
You wouldn't know that because you've probably already forgotten that was mentioned. So that's fair enough that you mentioned that. But for the rest of you, just to remind you, that happened literally 2 minutes ago.
Oh, yes. You're welcome for that plot nudge. You're welcome for that, guys.
Rana, I'm wondering whether it might be worth, if we can't infiltrate in the races to help, because, we might be stoned to death or some shit. I'm wondering, does Ifan, I know he works with all the different animals and things. Does he at all teach things like new riders to ride dinosaurs and stuff like that?
Ifan is responsible for selling the dinosaurs. The teaching is under his remit as well. You could certainly purchase a dinosaur from him.
Do you know who trained her, who her trainer is?
Mr. Somebody that works at Place.
I know him.
Well,
I have met this man
Mr.
before.
Somebody who works at Place. Would it be possible if Rana did change into a small dinosaur, for example, and me and Rana went up to actually talk about well, Rana obviously won't talk because he'd be a dinosaur, but about the potential of training me to ride a dinosaur, and then see if we can find out any information if Eliza goes to train there before the race or anything.
Isn't there too many parts to this puzzle? It's
I don't know.
Why
I'm
do you
just trying
need
to think
make
that
Rana a dinosaur? I don't understand, Siliqui.
Because it's cool, Percival. It's cool.
I will retcon that slightly because that was me being just exasperated. What Tiriki actually says is that he doesn't know who taught Eliza.
If you were to go down to Eliza's dinosaurs handlers, they might.
That could be worth
well.
it. Chatting to the dinosaurs handlers. They might have heard shit, mightn't they?
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Tirik. Thank you very much, Ekene. It's a joy as usual. It's always lovely to see you.
Ekene stands to bid you farewell and thank you once again for helping with the matter that you've helped with in regards to Taban, and for helping in this delicate matter that they now ask you for help with now.
No, I see Taban is a man of his word, and he does actually seem to know what he's doing. So, cat of his word.
Percival, why are you shouting?
I'm not shouting. I'm just being me.
And if I may say, I am Taban.
Zibby stands up and goes, it's always a pleasure to meet you again, Ekene. And you, Tirik.
They bow to you, and you can hear Ekene sort of looks to you, Siliqui, and with a glance at Taban just says, make sure he gets a good rest, I think. He's clearly out of it.
I think they all need it.
A nice long rest before we start anything new, I think.
With that, you head on out into the foyer, the corridor that leads back to the reception hall. I hesitate to ask, what will you do next? Are you going to head back to the Giggling Squid? Or are you going to head anywhere else in the city just now?
Well, what's next on the docket, chaps?
I think the Giggling Squid might be a very good plan.
I don't have a room at the Giggling Squid, though, right? I'm staying at the Enchanted Dragon.
You are staying at the Enchanted Dinosaur.
So you can come and stay there, though. They've usually got rooms at the Giggling Squid, haven't they? That it's we've had people.
They will do.
Well, all my stuff's there, man. All my stuff's at the
Come have a drink with us,
Squid,
and then go and pick up your stuff later, perhaps.
I like to drink. We drink further, friend.
Yes.
All right, then. Back to the Giggling Squid it is. You make your way back across the city and head back to your familiar haunt, the Giggling Squid.
Before Siliqui goes there, she's actually going to go and see Wakanga. Speak to Wakanga.
You want to go see Wakanga?
Mm-hmm.
Unexpected, but okay.
She gonna get laid?
No.
All right. So, the rest of you, I assume the rest of you are just going to head back to the Giggling Squid, leave her to it?
Yeah, can do.
We don't want to watch, no.
Percival, are you going to be able to handle all of these on your own? If I quickly go and speak to Wakanga?
What I'll do, I'll tie a rope to each one and between each other, and then I'll just kind of, I'll leash them along. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Like reins?
Sort of.
Percy, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sober. It's these two wasters that are still pissed.
Actually, he's not that bad, is he? If I remember rightly,
Zibby did manage to sober up in the time. Taban and Rana, you guys are still fairly drunk. While you are taking the two wastrels back, Celiquin.
Yep.
Wastrels.
You head over and you sort of stop off. You wave them off as they head down the hill of the Merchants' Ward, and you stop off at Wakanga's. You are greeted quite familiarly by the guards there, who have kind of got
Gary.
used to you. Yep.
Yeah. Guard 1, Guard 2, generic Gary. Yep.
They actually tell you that Wakanga is not in his villa at the moment. He's currently at the Temple of Sevras, so he's just behind you.
Okay, she'll pop there. Yep.
So as you turn around, you head back to the Temple of Sevras, and
see Gary.
As you walk on up. Yeah, you see Gary, but you also see the merchant prince Jessamine heading out, and she has a few retainers around her, so she's not like on her own. She can't quite approach right up to her or anything like that. But you can sort of like have a wave or sort of like call out to her if you want.
Yeah, she'll just, hello, as she's going by, and you're right. And she basically, so the queen sort of looks at her with a sort of nod, isn't it? You're okay. But sort of subtle, not as in a make her put it. But
you can't see much of her because she's got this veil over her head, and is fully clothed up. Fully clothed, covering up the majority of her body. But what you do see is as she passes through, you can see through the veil slightly, and you see that on her face, she barely seems to register you there. She looks very, very concerned on her face as she makes her way out of the Temple of Sevras. And she and her retainers head off back to her own villa. For yourself, are you still going to head on into the Temple of Sevras?
Can I speak to Gary?
You can indeed speak to Gary. Gary looks
my
to you
best
with
buddy Gary now. Yeah.
Looks to you and says, "Hello. How can I help you?"
Hey Gary, yeah. I was actually going to see Wakanga. Like there's something big, and is everything okay? How is Grandfather Zatembe?
Grandfather Zatembe, bless him, he's still, I'm afraid, unconscious at the moment, but Wakanga has come to try and aid as best he can with his own magics. He's trying to see if he can somehow break through whatever has caused this unconsciousness in the grandfather. He's just through in the infirmary, but beyond that, it's actually it's quite a normal day here. Actually, it's there's nothing particular to speak of. Business is as business is. It keeps on going.
I saw Jessamine go past, and there was a look of worry on her face. I was just wondering
What's
if everything. It was hard to see because she did have, her gothy veil, but I think it looked like worry. Maybe it was constipation, but I think it was worry.
As Gary leans in to engage you in this conversation a little more, you find Gary himself doesn't know all that much about why particular Jessamine might be concerned, but you get the impression from Gary that he's something of a gossip as you talk, just sort of just going over.
Me and Gary, yeah.
Do you know what? Jessamine, she's been in here quite often recently, and that's unusual for Jessamine. She doesn't usually bother with the Temple of Sevras.
How peculiar! I wonder
After
why.
That, it's mostly inane prattle, but you do manage to pick up that tidbit based on what you've just started talking to them about.
Cool.
After a little bit of back and forth about what he thinks about various new fashions coming out in the people of Cholt at the moment in Portney and Zaro. The conversation winds down, and if you would like to go and see Wakanga, you can do.
Catch you later, Gary. And then she goes in. Don't know what that accent was, so I went all a bit like.
Yeah, I don't know where that accent went either.
Anyway, she
by
goes.
the by, while she is actually having this gossip, Zibby and Percival, I'd like an animal handling from you guys.
Right. For which one though? Rana or both of them? Rana is random and a cat.
Right. Animal handling. I've got +3 on that actually.
5.
Incredible. Is that 5 total?
5.
19.
Okay. So, between the two of you, Percival, you are far too engrossed in your own business. You're kind of like, you're there, you're in charge, obviously, you are clearly leading the way. But as a result, you're not really actually paying attention to what's happening behind you. No. Which is Zibby basically like grabbing each of them in turn, just trying to make sure they don't wander off and do something else. And just wander off to do their own thing. And there are a couple of moments, I think, when maybe Taban manages to almost get the better of Zibby and sort of wander off to do his own thing. Yes, he does. At the last minute, Zibby manages to catch him and sort of pull him back.
Hang on, 1 second. 1 second. With thaumaturgy,
Yes.
can I make a small red dot appear on the floor?
Oh my god.
Distraction technique.
Yeah, sure. Taban, can I get a wisdom saving throw from you at disadvantage, please?
Oof, I rolled really well first. I rolled even better second time.
What is it? Wisdom saving throw?
It was a wisdom saving throw, yeah.
+0, so it's 17.
Ooh,
17.
Pretty good place.
Okay, you see through what Zibby's trying to do, and you don't. Unlike before, you are able to hold in that instinct to pounce on this strange object. You suddenly realise it's kind of like you're just like, hey, you just conjured that out of nowhere.
You did it again, tricks. I like your tricks, man.
If you come with me, A, I'll show you more tricks. B, we can have a drink. That'd be fine.
I teach you a song of my people as we walk. Come, friend. I put my hand over his shoulder as I walk. I go, meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Itty meow, meow.
I think I've heard this one. Does it at the end?
Meow, 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 meow.
Does it go
meow,
meow, meow, meow, meow, meow, meow, meow, meow?
You
meow,
know
meow,
it.
meow.
You sang it before. It's a good song.
If this is a reference to something or not, but it's
Hands on each other's shoulders. Rana just tucked under the other arm.
Yeah.
like a struggling toddler.
Rana, what's your thoughts on all of this?
I think throughout this, I think Rana is interested by the idea of meowing music, and it reminds him strangely, in a strange way, it's sort of reminiscent of the howler monkeys in the jungle, and all the gibbons. And he'd often go to sleep with the sound of, all the monkeys, hooting and hollering and things. So I suspect in a weird way, Rana would quite enjoy it. And Rana sort of mumbles along, muttering meow, but he's a bit drunk, so he's muttering meow in Goblin, which is the same as it is in Common.
I was about to say, how does that change?
It's
the accent.
It's the same as it is in Common. It just sounds a bit ruder.
It's a meow instead of a meow.
He puts the emphasis on the me in the meow.
Yeah, it's like it's somehow it's more selfish than a cat's meow, which is the most selfish of all sounds. After the one shot we did where I attempted to describe the noises that the Janazi character made, I'm not gonna go into this more because I think Greg nearly had an embolism after my third description.
I think yeah.
I had just this as an aside. We did like a one shot, and I had a character who spoke primordial. So every time he said something, I just tried to basically, because primordial isn't words, it's just sounds. So I had to try and create like ridiculous sounds. So I was like, it sounds like a wet rain blowing through a field of breadsticks. So I just had to come up with just ridiculous.
I get it.
It's like the most ridiculously descriptive and evocative. Just like how would wind and water make this sound? It sounds like somebody dropping a piglet into a well, but the well is filled with honey.
We all know that
also,
sound.
how would you know that from listening to it as well? Just anyway.
It's the gloopy slap.
Moving on.
It's fine.
Back at the Temple of Sevras, Siliqui, you head into the infirmary, which is also kind of familiar from the many times you've been in there. You see on one of the beds, Grandfather Zatembe is still lying fairly immobile, still clearly out conscious. out cold, even is what I meant to say. And Wakanga is there, just sort of like he's having an examination of Zitembe, sort of like opening one eye, muttering some words over his body, but as far as you can tell, nothing seems to be affecting him.
Excuse me, Wakanga. Am I disturbing if I come over?
Ah, Soliloquy.
Hello.
How are you, my dear? Join me.
Oh, thank you. And I go the opposite side of Grandfather Zitembe and take Grandfather Zitembe's other hand.
Are you visiting for any particular reason, or did you just want to see me?
Well, that's rather assumptive, isn't it? I mean,
Presumptuous.
That's the word I was meaning. My knowledge, my mind palace just reminded me. The word I was trying to say was presumptuous.
Sorry, carry on. Sorry, go on. Carry on. Sorry.
Broke the mood, Sean.
I just totally
Sorry,
blanked on the
I'll
word.
flirt with you later.
I'm enjoying
I'm
enjoying that Wakanga now sounds a little bit like the guy from Ding Dong. It's got a little bit of the old. I say, madam, matron.
Terry
I'm not gonna
Thomas.
lie. I couldn't remember.
Hang on.
what my
No.
accent was.
Let's not diverge. Let's keep
Not
this going
diverge,
because
right,
this was
come on.
awesome.
Well,
Keep
Wakanga,
going.
I was here when this happened to Grandfather Zitembe. It was all very dramatic and worrying, and we have been checking on him quite frequently. I am concerned for him. I'm partly here for Grandfather Zitembe to check on his current state and how he's doing. And I did also want to ask you a couple of things, but that's not as important as me checking on Grandfather Zitembe.
Of course.
How is Grandfather Zitembe doing, in your opinion?
Of course, you would be, a dutiful friend of the grandfather to check on his state. I'm afraid, as far as I can tell, there's still something is keeping him out cold. The vision that you helped him see in the jungle clearly did something to his mental state.
Have you been told what the visions were that we saw?
I have been told by some of the acolytes who also witnessed the ritual. I've been told what transpired in the dream state that you entered. It's most miraculous, most strange, really.
It was quite a journey, it really was. But it was the eyes at the end that seemed to make it all go wrong and seemed to put him in this state.
Well, Grandfather Zitembe was the focus of the ritual, the one that was actually causing the visions that you saw. The rest of you were aiding him, yes, and taking part, but if any of you had been the focus instead, I think this would be the same state that you would be in.
I'm quite grateful that I don't think we would have been able to handle it the way Grandfather Zitembe did. I mean, he's barely alive now, and I think we
are grateful that the grandfather is out cold.
No, but I think he is.
That's quite harsh.
No. I mean that I think he is stronger than us. I don't think we would have been in as good a condition as Grandfather Zitembe is now. I think we would have been much worse off.
Perhaps. For the time being, he seems to be fighting a fight inside his head, it seems. This is a fight that there is not much magic that we have or others might have that would be able to restore it. And few within Chult would know how to fight it, I imagine.
We're trying to get as many of the merchant princes and people we can on side to help, especially because the death curse is so much bigger than all of us, and we need as many people as we can, to help in any way they can to fight it. We're trying to help Ekene at the moment, to get Ekene to help us more as well. And I was wondering, as I feel I can trust you, and we've got a bit closer now, do you know much about Ifan or about like dino racing and potential cheating and things like that going on?
Wakanga blinks at the mention of cheating, but otherwise says to you that all I can tell you of Ifan is that he is a greedy man within the city, much more so than I think any of the other merchant princes, with perhaps Ghelfi could give him a run for his money. But Ifan, as you already know, is the merchant prince that has the monopoly on animals, especially animal training, and those that are sold in the meat markets are most often Ifan's. He is the most prodigious and varied assortment of assets in terms of livestock, both kept in Jirki anchorage and further deeper in the jungles. Of the dinosaur races, I can tell you no more than you would find out from any of the bookies. Generally, I enjoy watching them with the other merchant princes, and I occasionally might make a well-reasoned or well-intentioned, at least, bet on one or two of the dinosaurs.
Yes, I can see they are well-intentioned. Let's not talk about what happens when you choose bets.
My dear,
Wakanda.
are you still sore about your lost bet?
She sort of gives me a little smile. I'm not sore. I'm just a little bit disappointed.
I apologize profusely. Must I apologize more?
Maybe. We are trying to help Ekene, and basically we do have reason to believe that Ifan and possibly a lady called Eliza
Mustel.
Mustel. I couldn't read my own writing. Eliza Mustel, she's one of the riders, may well be planning on cheating. Do you have any suggestions of who we can talk to or to find out more? I mean, to get some information to try and stop it happening.
That is quite a serious accusation there, Soliloquy, I have to say. Cheating is one of the most frowned upon, if not the most frowned upon, of course. Cheating is always expected at sporting events, of course.
I don't know if 100% if Eliza will be cheating, or if she's being forced to cheat, or if she wants to cheat herself, or what's going on. I don't want to put the poor girl through a horrible circumstance. If it's something she is being forced to do, I would like to get to the bottom of it. But I don't really know where to start. Basically, we do need to find out what we can to try and stop it.
Wakanga thinks for a moment, and after a pause, says to you, "Well, I must admit, Soliloquy, I am not sure where precisely I can help you with starting, to be honest. It's not exactly my area of expertise, the dino races. I do aid in the checking of each beast before the races. I am the one that walks the line."
Ah, is it you that does the thing to check if they are in fact not dinosaurs?
I often use detect magic to work out whether or not there is any magical enchantments that have been placed on either the riders or their mounts.
Uh-huh.
Zindar, too, is one who is prodigious at wanting to know that fair play is involved, and he uses his ability to detect any wild-shaping dinosaurs amongst the lineup. But as for places to start, I would suggest perhaps Eliza's handlers would be a good place. They know those dinosaurs inside out. Might be a good place to start by questioning them. Discreetly, of course. You wouldn't want to make a scene for yourself.
Absolutely. Do you know who the handlers are?
I'm afraid, my dear, I do not. It is not my area of business.
Would it be a case of going to the dino dens and finding out?
That would be above game. Yes, that would be a good idea, Soliloquy. Yeah. Wakanga does not know, I'm afraid. But he would suggest starting at the dino dens, as you will likely be able to find them there.
Another thing I wanted to speak to you about, Wakanga, is
of course, my
I
dear.
did just notice I saw Jessamine coming out of here, out of the temple, and I might have misread her face because she had the veil on, but she did seem worried or upset. Is everything okay? Do you know what might be going on, or?
It is not my business to pry into the affairs of my other merchant princes, or at least I attempt not to make it a regular habit to do so. With the information you have given me before of her...
I heard quite different with you and Jessamine Wakanga. I heard that you knew her quite personally.
Yeah, she can say what she likes. She has been, shall we say, aloof with me before, but I've never paid her much mind, of course. You can roll me an insight check, please.
I heard that he got in her business. Oh, why we shit on these kind of throws? So 4, it was shit. I got 4 and +5, so 9. What a crap.
He just seems to be acting quite aloof. He seems to be honestly denying that he and Jessamine have any sort of history. You might be insinuating there, young lady.
Insinuation? Never.
He is not sure what Jessamine would be here for, but occasionally the merchant princes do come by to the Templar Severas for advice regarding business. So, for example, if they need to know if there's going to be fair weather for their shipments being exported from the city, or whether or not a particular delivery they're expecting or import that they're waiting for is going to actually make it on time or be late. Generally mundane stuff. However, he is interested that you think she looked particularly worried. As remind me, because I was about to say something there. Wakanga, have you told him about what you know about Jessamine and the Death Curse? So I can't recall. I thought you had, but now I think about it, I'm not entirely sure you have.
No, we know that, that 'cause obviously her daughter told us, and we know about her. I've talked to Wakanga about Soliloquy stuff and about the weird thing that happened with the Tembe and the Beware the Thunder and all that stuff.
Okay.
Oh, we showed him the jug, but we haven't talked to him about Jessamine. I don't think we kept that.
When you showed him the jug, has he got the jug at the minute, or did you guys take that back?
I think he still had it, so I can get it back.
Okay.
I think he was looking. I can't remember, but if it's there, I'll take it back.
Okay.
Or when he can collect it, because obviously he's at the temple at the moment.
So Wakanga does not know, and says to you that he's not sure why Jessamine would look particularly concerned, but he is interested in that and sort of ponders that for a second, and then says, "Well, now, my dear, it is getting late. Would you care to join me for a drink at my villa?"
What sort of time is it?
It is now, let's think. So you guys beat up Taban in the morning. About midday you went up to there. 3 hours,
got pissed.
Went back to
It's
there, so,
quite late, isn't it?
Yeah. It would probably be, fairly sort of late-ish. Sort of getting on towards evening. Not late evening, but, the sun was probably going down.
Yeah, they did get day drunk.
They did get day drunk, yes.
Yeah.
But Wakanga is basically offering. He says to you, "Would you like to come for a drink? I believe I do owe you a alchemical jug back."
An alchemical or
alchemy jug? Shut up.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. That's not a euphemism.
This is true. I do need to pick it up. The others will be wondering where it is. So
where's my jug?
I could come to yours for a little bit, but I do need to get back because they are expecting me. We do need to make plans for tomorrow, being that tomorrow is the race, and we need to brainstorm what to do to help Ekene.
We will switch back then as Wakanga leads you back to his villa. We will switch back then to the Dude Squad,
and then the next word is meow, meow, meow. Do you get it? This is...
Are you sure it's... Yes?
I think it's 3 meows.
I've never heard this
It's a very hard song to get your head around. But it's meow, 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 meow. I know.
You've got away with languages, Zibby. What?
I think it goes, meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Sorry, Greg. What are we doing? What are we doing, Greg?
Oh, that's all right. I was mostly waiting for you guys to finish just whatever it was you were doing with regards to roleplay. Is there anything in particular you guys want to do with your evening at the Giggling Squid? And Taban, Taban, what is it that you want to do with your evening? Do you want to get a room at the Giggling Squid, or do you fancy getting a room, just going back to the Enchanted Dinosaur in the evening?
I think I'm too pissed to consider changing a room to another place, so I'd probably crash out in my room. Or if me and Zibby got more and more pissed, I might crash on the floor in his room.
Just find
either way would be interesting.
This large furry cat person curled up at the bottom of the bed. It's like,
that's it. Yeah.
How the hell did you? And you wake up, you look down, and you're just like,
Let's say that's what happened. We got so pissed during the evening that I ended up just crashing out at the foot of his bed.
Percival,
curled up as tightly as possible.
Yes,
Percival. At your return to the Giggling Squid, and actually Zibby, you would notice this as well because you guys would be sober enough. When you get back, the barkeeper actually not only does he sort of greet you quite warmly, but he also passes you a message from Lyric Deshland, You open it up. It's got this quite officious, this quite loopy writing in it, which, Percival, you have no trouble reading. Zibby, you probably have to look at it and for a few minutes trying to work out what the hell is that supposed to be a W?
Yeah. Am I still drunk? Yeah.
But what it says is that Lyric has been successful in arranging a meeting with the merchant princes. In 3 days' time, he is hoping that you will join him in basically petitioning the merchant princes officially to help the Order of the Gauntlet. So this is what you guys have currently been working towards. Is you're basically buttering up the merchant princes.
Almost like a town hall meeting of
yeah, essentially. Lyric says that all 7 of the merchant princes will be in attendance, which is fairly rare, to be honest.
But that in this instance, it is required, as each of the merchant princes individually need to say that they will provide some sort of aid to the Order. He tells you that he likes the sound of what you're doing, that he's heard that you guys have been sort of making contacts with the merchant princes, and it urges you to continue doing so, and asks that, yes, in 3 days, you join him at Golden Temple at midday, which is when the meeting will be taking place.
Is that 3 days' time, did you say?
There's 3 days' time, yes.
Cool. So tomorrow is the dino race. 3 days.
No, the dino race is in 2 days. The meeting is in 3 days.
Cool.
Okay, you spend the evening having a meal, having a bit of a drink. As you stumble them off to bed, who's probably the last person still in the bar?
Me and Tabby, I guess.
Yeah.
Percival's generally quite good at being up last. I mean, last time, one of the first nights, Percival was like, he drew on Rana and was still talking to Rana, even though Rana was passed out, because Percival was the only person still awake.
I would say Percival is still knocking about, yeah.
So everyone's awake. Sorry, Greg.
So everybody is still awake, yes. Brilliant. Just late into the night, everyone's still there. Okay.
I don't think Taban would have been the last one up either. I think he's drank so much by this point and didn't sober up alongside Rana, so...
and had a fight as well.
And that's true. You are literally at a hair's breadth from death.
That's true.
You have been 3 hit points this entire day.
It's true.
I mean, fair play,
won a drinking competition.
He somehow survived and still won a drinking competition.
I am Taban. Yeah.
So yes, Rana, you've been carried off to bed, and you sleep fairly soundly, though your dreams are often interrupted by a surprised gecko that seems to just wander back and forth through various aspects of your dreams.
Zibby and Taban, the two of you sort of have a drink or two, and Taban, eventually you just have to crash, and Zibby, I assume, as you were saying there earlier, you sort of take him up to bed and let him crash in your room. Is that the idea, Zibby?
That sounds a bit more full on than I was anticipating, but
sounds a bit more sinister.
And then we have sex.
What, has Zibby still got the... No, has Zibby still got the reinforced room?
He does. Yes. He does still have the reinforced room. Yes.
Look. On the way up, he waves the barkeep. Just can you just chuck?
What was the barkeep's name? We got that the other day.
Barry, wasn't it?
I think it was Barry. It was one of the names I pulled out of my arse.
Another Barry.
Let's say it's Barry.
Just chuck us a duvet. He's gonna kip on the floor. I know he's a cat, but he might get chilly.
Basket.
Sure. Let's say a blanket of some kind is brought to your room so that you can put it over the sleeping kitty. Percival, as you're the last up, nursing, burning the midnight oil, you are sat writing in the main tavern, and in walks Soliloquy, quite late, and has returned to you.
Hello. You look like you've had an interesting evening.
Well, actually, I have had quite an interesting evening. I went to see Wakanga to see what we might be able to do in regards to infiltrating or finding out about the cheating in the dino racing. As it turns out, Wakanga wasn't home, so I was told he was at the Temple of Severas.
Yes.
So I I've walked all the way back. Is the barkeep still up to get like a juice?
The barkeep would still be there. There'd still be a skeleton crew on hand.
Hello. Can I get a juice over here? I went to the Temple of Severas. I saw Jessamine coming out of there, and she had a full-on veil, like a goth kind of thing. and looked quite upset. I don't know why.
Well, she does have the death curse, Siliqui.
Yes, but she didn't look that pissed off when she had the death curse when we first met her.
I think
she looked quite upset and worried now.
Do bear in mind, we did see Syndra, didn't we?
Bear in mind, this has only been like 2 days ago or whatever since we saw her. It's
Feels
not
like
been that
fucking
long.
months, I tell you.
But I spoke to Gary. Gary, you know what he's like. Me and Gary now, we're like best buds.
Yeah, I like Gary. He's lovely.
I like Gary. He likes my sandwiches. He told me that Jessamine's been going there a while now. She's been going there a lot more regularly, quite often, which is very unusual for her, apparently.
Any idea why?
No, he doesn't know why. I'm wondering if maybe she's found religion again and is praying or something. I don't know.
I expect she's just trying to get some insider information, trying to predict the future or whatever it is that they do at the Temple of Severance. I can't remember. I only have a memory of a goldfish.
Would not surprise me.
Did you breathe there at all, Percival?
Sorry, breathe? What?
So, anyway, I checked on Grandfather's Atembe. He hasn't really had any change. Wakanga was trying his magic on him with seeing if he could do anything, and he's been there quite a while. Unfortunately, Wakanga also hasn't been able to wake him up or anything.
They tried cold water?
Probably.
Like a bucket?
Yes, Percival. But anyway, yeah, I got chatting to Wakanga. I asked him about Jessamine. He didn't really know. He also denied ever having a history with Jessamine, which I don't believe.
Yeah.
I believe, playa. Anyway.
Oh, really?
What gives you that idea?
Probably. He's basically said that he's not a lot of use with that, with knowing who we should speak to. He just thinks we should probably speak to whoever Eliza's dinosaur handlers are.
So what we were going to do tomorrow?
I thought I'd try, to see what I could find out, but...
Well, fair enough.
How was your evening?
Well, we just kind of had a few drinks. Taban showed us some weird game with a knife and between the fingers. That was pretty exciting.
Taban, I do wonder where he is at Tabaxi. Does he have much gaps between his fingers? Are they like,
his paws.
Are they like little bits and then claws?
Well, he's got claws
does he
as
have
well.
proper gaps between them?
It's
is
sort
it not
of
dangerous?
Yes, that's what makes it more exciting.
Sean, how do you feel about how much Percy was paying attention to your digits?
I'll be honest, I'm surprised and a little turned on.
Just the way it should be. And yes, Rana got rather drunk and he started telling us about how he once transformed into a cow just so that he could eat lots of grass so that he could turn into a cow again. I don't know, it's some weird thing that he was doing.
What?
Something to do with his hunger, I don't know.
Rana's a bit strange, really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am really, really fond of him. He's a special boy, but he's really rather odd.
Okay.
So yes, yeah. Other than that, we just had a whacking great time, getting a bit pissed.
Weren't you already, wasn't everybody already drunk?
Well, they were wankered.
Hear his voice from the top of the stairs going, "No, I wasn't."
Shut up, you.
Oh, I know.
Assuming that there isn't anything much more of note that you guys want to discuss with each other, we will leave it at there for tonight and say that you guys head off to bed.
Siliqui is going to go upstairs to her room, which she shares with Rana anyway. But she'll see that Rana's asleep and twitchy, and just to dick with him, Siliqui is going to sketch out a load of life-size little images of geckos and pin them all over the room for when he wakes up.